All right guys, today I'm going to do a quick demo and review of the MechMaxx TC9662. This is not a sponsored video or any of that stuff, so I'll get that out of the way. I paid for this machine along with a balancer. I kind of got a bundle deal on it. They sell this machine, 5 or 6 different model numbers. The model number will dictate like which assist arms you get. So you can kind of chop it out how you want. You can also get a tilt head instead of a side swing head. It really depends on what you're looking for. I don't have space for a tilt back, so I went with the side swing. I also, it's a space, I installed wheels on this. That's not recommended, so you'll probably see me wheel this back up into the corner when we're done. The wheels that are on it are rated for 600 pounds. This thing's like 560, right? So we're right there. The only downside adding casters to it or wheels to it is it sits a little higher off the ground than it should. They're designed to be bolted into the ground. So it's not a big deal. It's about a 2-inch difference. So for the amount of tires I do, that really doesn't matter, right? I don't mind lifting my leg a little higher every once in a while. If you were doing this all day long, I would not recommend putting wheels on this thing. Just mount it to the floor properly and ergonomics and all that stuff, right? You won't end up with a bad knee. I have one tire to swap. I think this got delivered, it wasn't even 2 weeks ago, about a week and a half ago. And I've already done 11 tires on it. And that's gonna sound weird, 11, like why 11? Well, I put tires on my trailer and my trailer has a spare tire. So there's 3. So I did 2 cars and a trailer already with this thing. And today I'm gonna swap a tire over onto a spare wheel. I have a better tire and I'm gonna throw the tire that's on that rim away and put a slightly better one on. It's not a new tire. We're gonna put a used tire onto the wheel. And that's actually a really good reason to buy a machine like this. If you were to go to, I don't know, Discount Tire or what's the other one? Walmart does tires, and any place that does tires will not mount a used tire for you. Like mom and pop shops will, right? But any like retail store will not, because liability issue. So if you're doing stuff like that and other things, like I wouldn't buy a tire machine just for that. But if you're doing other things with tires and whatnot, it'd be worth investing in the machine. I think I mentioned I did pay for this. This is not a sponsored video, or maybe I didn't. I paid for this machine along with the balancer. So, I'm not, MechMaxx is not paying me to do any of this stuff. I have bought other things from this company. I really like the company. I have a stump grinder from them. That thing is a beast, an absolute beast of a machine. So I was pretty confident, buying again from those guys. The one thing I will say is this machine does not have a lot of reviews, really any, on YouTube or anywhere on the internet. You literally just can't find them, with the exception of the ones from the company. Like nobody else seems to have their machine, and if they do, they have not made a video on it. So this is probably going to be the only independent review of this machine that you're going to find, at least as of August 2025. Okay, enough yapping. Let's get it. All right, first things first, we're going to pull our valve cord. That's going to be noisy. And I'll show you guys this tire. It's pretty much done. I don't know if I'll come through or not. It's pretty much done. I want to pop the center out. Just going to pop that center out as well. Okay, close enough. Let's get after it. First thing you want to make sure, don't break your tire on your TPMS sensor, because you'll destroy it. So I like to keep those just pointing towards me. So we're going to... I should also mention, I'm coming off a broken wrist, so my wrist is, if you see me going lefty, there's a reason. I'm not supposed to lift anything over 5 pounds with this wrist, so Yeah, if you see me struggling, it's got nothing to do with the machine. All right. And I'm trying to do this without, normally I'd stand here like this, but I'm trying not to do that. So I want you guys to be able to see okay. And then our TPMS sensor, I just have it right here. So you don't want to hit that with your shovel because you will break stuff. And then if need be, we can hit it again, just in case, but again, be mindful of your TPMS. We're good. And then same thing, when you flip it over, just be mindful of where your TPMS is. I like to do the same thing. I just have it come up and face me. That way I have no danger of actually destroying it, right? All right, we're gonna put you right about there. Hopefully that works. So you have two ways you can clamp a wheel, right? There's a way to clamp it from the inside, or you can clamp it from the outside. Flip that, inside, outside. the outside will do some damage to an alloy wheel. If it's a steel wheel or whatever, or it's a wheel you don't care about, that's fine. Just set your wheel up and you can let your jaws open. This is a nice alloy wheel off an Acura. We're gonna clamp it from the inside of the rim, and I'll show you guys that. This table, hopefully you can see these markings here. So, this is your wheel size, right? So you can open this up to roughly where it is, right? Like this is a 17-inch wheel, so I'll probably put it at like 19 and a half. And then we'll stop it. And then we'll clamp them from the inside out. So right there is about 19-ish roughly. So when I set this wheel on, the tire is going to sit on these, and then we can suck these in and grab it from the inside. That way we don't damage the wheel. Yeah, I'll try and show you guys that. Oh. Yep. I'm not supposed to lift anything. Not even a bag of potatoes, he told me. Maybe I'll see if I can get you guys a look at this from the underneath. So I'm just gonna try and show you guys how these fingers work. So you can see the inside of the rim and the tire there. So they're just gonna sit in front of it, and as we clamp it down, they're gonna come in and grab it from the inside. So hopefully you can see that. Ooh, there we go. All right. So this machine also has an arm to center the tire. I never really used this, but I'll show it to you guys. Nope. Let's do that. There you go. Now I can show it to you. So this little guy slides on here, like so, and then you can bring them over and it'll push the wheel down, and it'll help you guide those four feet into the inside of the rim. I don't really use that much. I can set them up there, it'll work just fine. If you had a really big wall tire, like you may want to just come in and just push your wheel down like that, and that'll help. It'll help those feet catch right on the rim. We can do that. I can show you. But that's not, you don't really need that, but it would be handy to have when you do need it, I guess. It's just not something. It's not something I use a lot. All right, so let's get you guys. I'm gonna see if I can get you guys a better look. There we go. All right. So when you're dismounting a tire, right, there's a couple of things you got to be mindful of, especially with your TPMS sensor, right? You don't want to break these, right? They're a pain. You got to program them, depending on the car. So the best way to avoid breaking these is to actually start with this just behind your duck bill. So for me, that's going to be right about there. So we're going to, I got that damn dog next door. So that's coming through. So I'm going to pull this, I'm going to push this arm over to roughly where I want it. And then this on this model, it's also a pneumatically controlled lock. So you unlock it and you can get your duckbill sliding up and down. This one, I'm gonna bring it back just a touch. We wanna set that down right about, right? We're gonna fine tune that in a second. You just wanna get it close, right? And then you can see, you'll be able to just push this tire down. This machine also has an arm that can push it down for you. So I'll show you guys that. A lot of times I don't use that either. Not for removal, but for installation, it's really, really handy. Yeah, so if you have a piece of your tire that is stuck on the rim still after you've broke the bead with the shovel, you get it up here and you're like, oh, it's not sitting right, or you're having trouble like pushing it down with your hands or whatever, you have this assist arm. Now this thing, it's really, really handy when you're putting your tires on and taking it off. When you have the top bead off, you can use this side of it to lift the tire up, so you don't have to lift it up and struggle like that, right? And I'll try and show you guys that. It's pretty handy, especially with a broken or a wrist that's on the mend. I can't really do much with this hand, so if you see me strangering it or left-handed and stuff here, that's why, right? But yeah, so you can use this if you want to help you. Just push the other side of the tire down, make sure it's in the drop center. That'll help you with your tire iron when you pop it off the top, right? So again, valve core or your TPMS sensor tucked up onto the duckbill. Grab your bar. This tire, it's pretty much ready to go. We're just gonna, oh, here's the other thing. I see a lot of people on YouTube soaping the old tires. If you're doing a puncture, right? Okay, sure. If you're gonna save the tire, maybe, yeah, okay, sure. You can use this arm and just wheel it around and soap it and stuff before you take it off. Maybe if it's a really low profile tire and you wanna avoid any chance of damaging the rim, sure, that's not needed, guys. I mean, you can do that, but it's not really needed. Okay, so when you do this, you've got your tire, you can see it's in the drop center. You don't really need that arm, right? We're gonna pop our tire over. There's a couple of things you can do here. You can try and wiggle your tire iron out. You can use a rag here beforehand. I've done enough tires in my life to know it's not really gonna make too much of a difference. Just hold on to the bar so that nothing crazy happens and it comes up and whacks you in the face or anything. Just try and be a little safe, I guess. And I just let the bar go around with the wheel and just pop it out. Really nothing to it. So when you get to this point, your TPMS sensor, you hear me say that a lot, it's not in the wrong spot. So you can either back it up or you can go all the way around, or basically, however you want to do it, you got to get your TPMS back over here. So to take the second bead or side of your tire off, that's a little more cumbersome because you got to lift up on this side, make sure it's in the drop center, hook your bar in. That's where if you want to use something like this assist arm, you can, right? So we're going to bring it all the way down, well, not all the way down, but down enough to get onto the tire, and we're just going to bring it up. We're going to use it to hold the tire for us. So super handy if you have a busted hand. It can be really beneficial there. And all we're going to do is go back in, do the same thing again. Our TPMS is here. We don't want to break it, don't want to damage it. And then we're going to pop the other side of the tire off. I'm going to drop this just a little. There we go. So you just want to, let me see if I can show you guys without, yeah, there we go. So let me show you what that looks like with the TPMS sensor. So this is what you want. You don't want anything hitting that TPMS sensor when you go around, right? That way you have no risk at all of damage. All right. So same thing again. The one thing, make sure if you're using this assist arm, let's get rid of that before you start taking your tire off, because you could damage something. And then same thing with the bar. I'm just gonna let it come around. Sometimes sometimes they'll get stuck like that, no big deal. Just make sure you don't damage anything. And that's it, right? Your tire's off, everything looks great, no damage. TPMS sensor still intact. Yeah, and you're basically ready to put your new tire on. Yeah, this rim does not have any corrosion on it or anything. Like it doesn't need cleaned up. You're pretty much ready to go. And then I'll show you what to do with your TPMS when you're putting a tire on as well. Yeah, just a couple of tips and tricks. So again, you don't wreck it, right? One top trick for you. I would not do this on this rim, but I learned this trick years ago when I was doing new wheels. If you take some of this Teflon tape and you can basically just stick it, hit the button. I'll do it on this one for you. I don't need to do this right now, but this is not a wheel that I really care about. But you can do this to help protect your wheel. Not needed. If you care about your wheels, spend a couple of bucks on a roll of tape, and you can just do that before you install your tire. It is absolutely not needed on this wheel. This is a spur tire for an Acura. But I'll do it just to show you. And then I'm going to grab my new tire, which is not new at all. Okay, we got our used/new tire. All right. I don't think these are directional. Let me double check. If they're not directional, I normally put the date code facing on it, which is this side, because this tire is 21st week of 2022. Let me just make sure it doesn't say inside on this side. Okay, yeah, they're not directional. So this will be our inside, or bottom, so to speak. And then the other one will be the outside of the wheel. I'm gonna grab some soap. Pull that up. Yeah, you can see how tight I am for space, right? That's why I got the wheels on it. Oh, and it comes with this really handy little soap holder there. I'll show you guys that too. If you have like a bunch of dirt or whatever on your tire, like especially if you have a used tire, you're gonna just clean it up. Otherwise, you're gonna end up with leaks and stuff. This one should be fine. You don't need a ton of this either, right? Just enough and no more. Oh. All right, so for putting your tire on, kind of like reverse removal, kind of, sort of. You don't need any assist arms or anything for the first one. But your TPMS sensor, where should it be, right? It should be at 7 o'clock to where the tire is starting to go on. So in this case, that's about right here where my finger is, right? And it's currently over here. So we're gonna hold our tire and spin our rim right about there. So it's kind of, I don't know if you'll be able to see or not, or if I can show you. You want it just on the far side of the tire when you start. So hopefully you can see that. Let me see if I can, oh boy. All right, we'll put you there. Hopefully you can see it. So basically to get this side on, this is the easiest part of the whole tire, right? You're just gonna come in, push down, there's my wheels moving, and then hit your button. And then you want that tire to pop on where your TPMS is at the very end. That way nothing can break it, right? All right, so same thing again, going on this side, only we're gonna use a bunch of assist arms when we do this one. Okay, so TPMS sensor, again, it's in the wrong spot. We're gonna scoot that over to the pipe there. Bring it back just a little. Oh, I can see it. Okay, hopefully I don't kick you guys. So you want, when you're putting a tire on, you want it to sit like that, right? This is where this arm really comes into play. So that really helps you set your tire for when you're going back together, right? So you want it like that, right there. And then this guy, also very helpful. I'm gonna have him come and sit like that. Just pop your tire up. So there you go. You're in a good spot. This is probably too low. When you do this, you want the rim to fit in that gap. So I would say about there, right? TPMS is here. That's fine. Should be fine. There you go. And when you get to about here, you're done with your arm. You can bring those up, go ahead and finish it. And you can see the tire, the very last thing let me see if I can show you guys better. The very last thing this tire is going to do is pop down where that sensor is. That's perfect. There you go. You're all done. That's it. You got your tire on. It's pretty easy. And then, like I said, you don't need to do this tape trick that I did. Yeah, I just did it to kind of give you guys a tip more than anything. I just got to find where I overlapped it right here. So you can literally just wind your machine back, pull your tape off. If you're doing, I have a set of OZ racing wheels. When I do tires on those, I will be putting tape on them because those wheels are $4 grand, right? Yeah, absolutely not needed for something like this. All right, and then never fill this up with air when it's clamped the way it is on the inside, right? If you've pushed from the outside, that's fine. You can put air in it. You're not going to hurt anything. If you try and put air in this tire and seat it the way it is right now, you will pinch your clamps inside between the tire and the wheel. Right? Don't do that. You just don't do that. I watched some videos on YouTube before making this, and guys were doing that, and I was screaming at the phone. Don't do that. Take it off the machine if you want, or even just get it out of where it was. You can leave it on the machine to put the air in it, which I'll do for the video. I normally don't do that. And this machine comes with a little air inflator, which I thought, when I saw this, I was like, I'm never going to use that, but I actually do use it. I mean, it's just out of laziness more than anything. And watch out for tire soap in the face. This thing's gonna pop. Oh, it's gonna go one more time. If that's aiming at you, you're gonna get a face full of tire soap. If you put a bunch on, I don't put a lot on, so it's not a big deal. But just watch out for that. There you go. And then we're gonna overinflate this to like 40. And then we got to put a valve core back into it. Here's our valve core, and I'll show you guys a really cool tool. This is made by Lyle. It's actually torque. It's got I think it's 8 Newton meters of torque built into it. So when you tighten your valve core down, it'll click over, and that's when you know you've quote unquote torqued your valves, your valve, right? I'll see if I can get that on video for you. So that's just snug, and I'll see if you can hear it. Yeah, I don't know if you're gonna hear that click or not, but basically you can torque your valve, right? I mean, come on. Who needs to torque their valve? Nobody. And then this car takes 32. We did a good job. We're at 32.76. So we overinflated just enough to get our valve in. And we're gonna leave it at 0.7 over. That ain't no big deal. It's a spare tire. I should probably put 40 PSI in it. And that, my friends, is that. It is a pretty simple process. I was paying about $40 a wheel for mountain balance. So every time I do a tire, I get $40 back in my pocket, right? So that's kind of how I look at this. I work on a lot of cars still, even though I don't record it. You know, I can get my money back pretty quickly on a tire machine. If you're doing 2 sets of tires a year, this is not for you, I wouldn't think. But I would say when people find out you have a tire machine, you're going to get a whole lot of new friends. So just bear that in mind, I guess. I'll give you guys a look at the finished product, right? I'll show you there's no damage or anything. I guess I didn't really talk about the duck head either. So this duck head also has plastic here and here. So even if it did hit the rim, you're not really going to do a lot of damage. I always push this away from the wheel about 3 millimeters and up about, you know, 2 or 3 as well. That way, when this deflects, I still don't touch the wheel, right? If you were to leave that right against the rim, you know, you're going to be rubbing this plastic off pretty quick. But yeah, there's the wheels I put on it. I'll show you guys that. I got these off of Amazon. They were not expensive. So I can literally just, you know, when I'm done, wheel it up into the corner. And yeah, that's it. I mean, it takes up a lot less space that way. Kind of give you an idea of how much space it does take up, right? That's a full-size fridge. So I am going to balance this tire next. I might record that and just stick it at the end. So if you're interested in seeing it balanced, just hang out. I'm going to shove that in the corner and then we'll balance it real quick. All right, guys, that's what this looks like when I put it into the corner there. It takes up so much less space. I did just notice I didn't lock the wheels when I had it when I pulled it out. I just forgot. So that was it sliding around as much as it's going to slide around without the wheels locked on a pretty slippy floor. So I think it was moving a little bit when I was using it, but that's my fault. I totally forgot to lock the wheels, and they all lock front and back. I didn't lock any of them. So that's kind of the space you're looking at if you're thinking about getting one of these, and you know you're going to stuff it in the corner. That's about what you need for space. I think this is what, about 2 or 3 feet, 3 feet probably, and then yeah, the dimensions are on the website. You can look it up and see what you need. But we're going to stick this tire on the balancer. We'll balance it real quick, and we'll be done. All right, let's get this thing balanced. I'll show you guys how this works. Do take all your weights off. I normally take all my weights off my wheels before I even change the tire. That way they don't, you know, get caught up in your tire machine and stuff. Oh, I should not be lifting this. And then you got a quick nut here, so it basically slides on the shaft. I gotta just check this because I can't really lift it. Make sure it's on. Okay, it is. All right, I'm gonna snug this up. Oh, that's not good. My balancer is not screwed to the floor either, which that's a bit of a no-no because if the balancer starts moving in use, you know, that can throw it off. What I do is I'll just stick my foot right here. It doesn't slide too much. It also doesn't spin very fast. So it's not a big deal. If you balance a bunch of tires and you're still getting vibrations or whatever, you might want to look into screwing it to the floor. I haven't had that problem, so yeah, we're going with it as is. Let me see if I'm moving you guys to make it a little better maybe. Maybe I'll do it this way. Yeah, I think that's a little better. Okay, a couple of things you got to do. Set up your machine. So we are 8 from the machine to the diameter. This is 8. We're going to measure our wheel. I think these are 8.5s. I could be wrong. It comes with this little guy. I'm going to help you measure it. So you just go edge to edge, and these are 8.5. Yeah, that's what I thought. It says on the back of them 8.5. So if you don't have that, so you can, yeah, each wheel should have its own measurement. 8.5. And this is a 17, if I recall. Yep, 17-inch wheel. 17. Let's go. You can see it really doesn't spin it too quick. It's not like the machine's flying around all over the place or anything like that. And then how this works, hopefully, if you're watching this, I would hope you know already. We need 1 ounce on the, let me move that. Ooh. We need 1 ounce on the inside and 1/4 ounce on the outside. Let me just redo this because I did it for a steel wheel, not an aluminum wheel. So we want aluminum too. So I'm just gonna, I totally forgot to pick the type of wheel. So we're just gonna redo it just to make sure. It'll probably be the same. It's just where you put the weights is what that's for. Okay, so a little different. So we need 1.25 and then 1/2 ounce on the inside. So I'm gonna put you guys over here. See it. Yep, that should work. And I just use stick-on weights for everything. This is 1. So we'll take 2 of these, and we'll do our inside first. We're going to scroll this until the machine tells us to stop. Hopefully you guys can see the dots there. So it'll beep too. Oh, so right there, when all these lights light up, you're at the 12 o'clock position is where you're going to put your weight. And then this is going to be the inside of the rim. So we're going to take 1/2 ounce. If we can get the sticky bit off, there we go. And we're going to reach in and clean it and then stick our weight. All right, just going to line it back up. I feel like I did that a little too far to me. I didn't quite do it right. All right, and then this is going to be our inside weight. Sometimes you can mark them and then just roll it forward and then stick it where the mark is. I mean, if you want to be super, super accurate, you can do that. But you just want to be right at 12 o'clock, which is right about there. All right, so once you got your weights on, just check it, right? I feel like I might be off a touch on the inside because I don't feel like I put it where I should have put it. That's what she said. We'll give it a check, see how we did. And now we got it. So you can, hopefully you can see 0, 0 there. This machine, so it does have a fine adjustment. So the way the machines work, they all work like this. If you're within 1/4 ounce of your balance, you'll get zeros. But if you really, really wanted to fine tune it, you can. So there's this fine button here. And if you click that, so I could add, it'd be a tenth of an ounce. I don't even have weights that are that weight, right? But I could hold that and I could spin the wheel and I could find where it is, right? And I could put 1/10 of an ounce on there. You don't need to do that. I mean, you really don't. It'll kind of gut right there is where you'd want to do it. So there's, on the inside is where you'd add 1/10 of an ounce. I don't even have them, right? The lowest weight I have is 1/4 ounce. So if you want to get that granular with your balancing, you can, but you don't need to. You definitely don't need to. All right, guys, so there's the final setup. I'll just show you guys both the machines there. They work great. I'm super happy with them so far. you know, I'm glad I put the wheels on that just to kind of keep my space, you know, as open as I could. The balancer works great. It's super simple. This machine, when you get it to set it up, it comes packaged really, really well. You can set it up in about an hour, not even. Yeah, there's really not a lot to it. It comes with a whole bag of goodies. It comes with everything you need, like soap, the tire irons. It even comes with like rim protectors and stuff, which I don't use, but I would recommend if it was your first time changing a tire, use that stuff so you don't damage anything, or get a steel wheel to practice on or something like that. But yeah, I really like this setup. You know, MechMaxx, like I said before, I've used these guys. I've got a stump grinder from them. It's a freaking beast. They're really easy to get a hold of. Like, I shot him an email. The guy called me like the next day and he was like, "Hey, I see you're looking for this." I'm like, "Yeah." They did do me a favor. They price matched their machines to the one you see on Amazon, the blue one. And that one is not even, it's not as nice a design. It has the tank in the arm, and you know, if that tank fails, you got to replace the whole arm. I mean, that would be a disaster. This one has the bead blaster tank at the back there. I never use these things. I just never have a need. You know, but you know, if you need a bead blaster or whatever, I definitely wouldn't get the one from Amazon that has it built into this arm right here. You're just asking for problems. And they give me a few $100 off of this whole setup. It was still expensive, right? I mean, it's still the better part of $3,000. You know, my ROI on this is probably 2 years, just given the amount of tires I do. I mean, that'd be number 12, right? So $40 a tire times 12, I get my money back pretty quick. I've had the machines for about 10 days. So for me, it's worth it. You know, you got to do that math yourself, and you got to figure out if you know, doing something like this is worth it for you. The other piece is your time, right? Every time you go to a tire shop or whatever for 4 tires, you're gonna spend about 2 hours getting there, waiting, and getting back. And you don't really know the guy that's putting your tire on. He could screw up your wheels. You know, you don't know the guy that's balancing it. Is he gonna do a good job? Is he gonna, you know, get it close enough and say, "Yeah, I don't care"? You just never know what you're getting. So for me, I like to do stuff myself when I can, and yeah, for me, this was a purchase that was worth it. And yeah, if you're thinking about getting a MechMaxx machine, just don't think about it. Just go ahead and order it. You won't regret it. All right, guys.